The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.
Welcome to the bonus show. The allegations of sexual assault and sexual impropriety continue. This time, comedian Louis C.K. has been accused of sexual misconduct by several women. The pattern is similar, that he basically masturbated in front of them. And the questions are always, well, did he force them to watch? And the answer is, what do you mean by force? Certainly, the women felt that there was a sort of power dynamic and circumstances. They may not have been physically tied up and forced to watch, but they certainly didn't feel like it would have been a reasonable moment to just get up and leave. And Louis C.K., I don't ever want to praise anyone who has admitted to doing stuff like this, but he has arguably responded to this in a way that is maybe the most I don't want to call it sincere because that's a value judgment. Forthright maybe is the word. He basically wrote a letter saying, what I've been accused of is true, and I misused the power, and I apologize, and it was wrong, et cetera, et cetera.
I don't know if he said explicitly that he apologizes, that he expressed remorse for his actions.
Maybe you're right. It wasn't so much an apology, but he expressed remorse for his actions. And there are lots of people who are saying, this doesn't make any of the actions any better, but it's at least a response that seems more connected to sort of like understanding the realities of this type of thing.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Especially because he claims that before he didn't understand that, even though he asked these women for permission before he did these lewd acts in front of them.
Yeah,
he didn't understand that like they can't really. They're still coerced in a certain way because he has power over them. It's a whole power dynamic thing.
Right, and I thought that was interesting because he said these are women who admired me, and I did have power, and I wielded the power irresponsibly, I think was the exact word that he said it. So listen, I don't know. My instinct is that Kevin Spacey responded in a way that seemed disastrous, which is basically wrapping in that he's also coming out as a gay man.
Right. On the
and
surface,
saying it was alcohol.
So bad.
Yeah.
But then you look into it and it's like, why are you coming out in this apology? That has nothing to do with it.
And there are LGBT activists who say, you know, you were muddying the waters by combining your sort of explanation or non-explanation about the alleged sexual assault with saying that you were a gay man, with saying that it must have been the alcohol, and that sort of was worse. With Louis C.K., certainly, I mean, I hate to rank stuff, but it seems that what Louis C.K. is accused of, I mean, I don't want to offend anyone, but it strikes me that masturbating in front of a woman is not as bad as making a physical sexual assault attempt on a kid, which is what Kevin Spacey, I don't know. I'm not trying to rank stuff, right? It's not the assault Olympics, but it seems that in total, Louis C.K. is going to get out of this much less scathed than Kevin Spacey, do you think?
Maybe, yeah. I mean, he's getting all of his shows canceled, too. I mean, I was a big fan of The Secret Life of Pets, which one of the characters in this animation he voiced, and for the sequel, he's not going to be a part of it.
Yeah, so he is also losing some projects. But I just don't think, I mean, it seems like with Kevin Spacey, Netflix has now, in addition to canceling the entire thing, the season 6 of House of Cards, Netflix has replaced like the cover image of House of Cards to remove Kevin Spacey. So clearly he's still in the episodes that are archived on House of Cards. But when you look at House of Cards, you see other characters kind of in like that cover image that appears on Netflix for different shows. So they're really just kind of trying to get him out. And it seems he's being replaced by Christopher Plummer, I believe, on a movie that was already shot and whatever. I think Louis C.K. will immediately suffer some negative consequences, but eventually that his career is going to be on track. And also, the career of a comedian is just a different thing than an actor. So not to say that it's better, worse, or the same, but I think that just by its very nature, it's going to have less of an impact on Louis C.K.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about that. Do you think comedians may get a little bit more of a pass from the public
so.
because they're just thought of as these, you know, not to be taken seriously all the time?
Absolutely.
I think maybe Bill Cosby, even though what he did would rank towards the top of that totem pole.
I would say so.
Not everyone believes it. People are willing to give him a pass. It's very odd.
The other thing with Bill Cosby is he's had this long history of sort of being like, he'll talk real about racial issues and really sort of try to work on that and education for non-whites. And there's sort of like a social activism thing that maybe is a mitigating factor. I don't know. Every situation is different. But big picture, do you think it's a good thing for all of these different accusers to be coming forward in this deluge? I generally do. I mean, you know, the thing you hear from the right sometimes is, oh, People are bandwagoning. They're jumping on a bandwagon, and a lot of these are things that happened a long time ago that
Yeah.
you're never going to prove one way or the other,
Ruining
or
these
whatever.
people's careers or
Ruining
something
people's
that
careers.
happened decades ago, right?
I think that it is so stigmatized to make these allegations that it is a good thing if we can make it so that people feel like they can make the allegations and that by and large they're not going to be faced with victim blaming or whatever else. And I generally think it's a good thing. And my instinct is to believe accusers. Yes, there are sometimes false rape accusations. Statistically, they are incredibly rare. And the idea that we should immediately assume that someone who has decided to publicly say I was sexually assaulted is lying, that's very concerning for me. And I've said it before.
Yeah, I think there's this cultural shift going on in Hollywood, in the entertainment industry, and we're just in the transition of that shift. And I think this could continue for, maybe a few more months.
I think it's going to continue. Oh, I think there's going to be many more. I think there absolutely will be more. Women are less likely than men to get CPR from bystanders, and as a result, they are more likely to die. There's a study that shows that because in order to do CPR on a woman, you need to touch her chest. And of course, because breasts are sexualized in American and many other societies, it's not just the United States, there are many people who hesitate to perform CPR on a woman that they don't know. And it is not a huge statistical difference. Only 39% of women suffering cardiac arrest in a public space are given CPR versus 45% of men. But it does lead to a difference in how likely you are to survive cardiac arrest in public if you are a woman versus if you are a man, merely because of that. Not shocking. I think the only interesting thing is that the difference is only 6 percentage points. I would have guessed if you told me, listen, there's a lot of people who are going to feel weird about going up and starting to push on a woman's breasts that they don't know in public. I would have guessed it was more than a 39 to 45 gender split.
I think there's another aspect to it too, is just not only that you're touching the woman's breasts, but also you have to, put your hands down on her sternum and press pretty hard.
Yes.
So people may be willing to do that a little bit more to a man because they feel as if they can take that. Maybe.
That may be the case as well. And I actually do think about that. I'm not trained in CPR, and I don't know if when you become trained in CPR, there are some guidelines given, or if people are like, listen, you might feel like you're going to break someone's sternum, but you're not going to break it. You know how you hear those things where like, hey, listen, teeth are harder than this other thing, so you don't have to worry about breaking a tooth on some such material. And then when you hear that, you go, oh, okay, I was worried about that, but now I know that that's not going to happen. Maybe there is something within CPR where you're told, if you do this right, you're not actually at risk of breaking someone's sternum or ribs or wherever it is you might put your hands. I don't know the answer to that. I'm not trained in CPR, but that would also be a concern to me. Generally speaking, the smaller the person, that would apply to a male kid as well.
But I was just thinking, don't you think there would be just as many women qualified to do CPR as men? And generally speaking, the women would be just as comfortable doing it to another woman as they would be a man, right?
It could be the exact same thing, where even other women are less comfortable putting their hands on the breasts of a woman they don't know. That's interesting. Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, those are the results of the study. And I probably should get CPR training, right? It seems like a useful thing to have.
I wonder how mouth-to-mouth resuscitation plays into all of this. Because, people think of it as like the kiss of life, even though I think that's going out of style a little bit more nowadays.
I've heard that that's done less and less. Yeah, I heard now that what you do is you do chest compressions and then just turn the person on their side.
Okay, what does that do?
Oh, I don't know, something about clearing airways, and maybe does something similar to the kiss of life, as you've called it.
I've got to know this.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I should really maybe just do a CPR class and get qualified, certified. Yeah. I don't know. Police are looking for 2 women who climbed through a drive-through window and assaulted a McDonald's manager over Chicken McNuggets. The manager of the McDonald's in Indianapolis at 16th and Meridian Streets told police that 2 women drove up to the window and told them they hadn't received their McNuggets. The manager said, well, you never ordered the McNuggets and you never paid for the McNuggets. Therefore, you didn't get McNuggets. And a woman in the line behind them recorded the entire thing, posted it to Facebook, and you see the woman climb in through this drive-through window, and all hell broke loose. And ultimately, police showed up, and it was a mess. This is why I don't go to fast food restaurants, because you know what? When I go to my local burrito shop, no one is going through the non-existent drive-through window and punching people out because of not getting the guacamole they never ordered to begin with.
I feel like it's a horrible tactic too, because if you go through the drive-through window, either you can go head first and then you put yourself in a disadvantage because your legs are dangling out, or you go in legs first and then they can just push you out. I just wouldn't do it.
And you look really silly if you go in legs first on all the viral videos that will be published to Facebook. So that's a concern too. I would probably do a running jump and then go in, and as I go through, I would do a tuck and spin so I land right on my feet.
Yeah.
That's the way
like
I would
an
jump.
action movie.
That's the way I would jump.
You take out all 5 employees working there.
Yeah, and then I would just take all the Chicken McNuggets. Now, listen, the truth is, it's a good thing that they didn't get their Chicken McNuggets. Chicken McNuggets are vile, and they are made with this very, very weird mechanically separated chicken, and you don't want to know what parts are being used. Pink slime.
Would they have been justified if they had paid for the Chicken McNuggets and didn't get them?
Oh, yeah. Once you pay for the McNuggets, you can go right in behind there and grab them yourself. Yeah, no doubt about it. 17 years now without going to a McDonald's, and I am keeping it going.
Well, if you ever decide to, you know how you can get free food at a drive-thru?
No.
Get in line, and then when it's time to order, just say that you're just driving by, or you're all set, you're not going to get anything. Assuming there's a large line of people, right? And then that'll throw off their count. So they'll just give you the food that was intended for the person behind you.
Well, that'll only work if it's one of the places that you have one window where you pay and then another window where you pick up. But
which are pretty common.
Some of the when I used to go to McDonald's, it was about a 50-50 split, where a lot of the restaurants had the one window where you both pay and pick up.
I think it's worth the risk, though. You know.
Yeah. How do you explain that? Oh, hi, you're next. Can I take your order? Oh, I'm just driving by. It's like, well, oh, really? Then why are you waiting in the drive-thru line?
I'm stuck in traffic.
I'm stuck. It's a weird thing. I don't know that would make sense. I would try something more believable to try. The one thing I used to be told that you could do to get free cheese on your burgers is you order it with no cheese, and then after you're given the total, you then say, oh, can I add cheese?
Yeah.
And then usually at that point, it's too late. They don't want to charge you for it. Like, it's too late because it's been processed.
It's not worth it. It's a few cents anyway.
Yeah,
right?
and then they just put on the cheese for free or something. I don't even know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, no, that's pretty good. Do you know about the coning craze that was big a few years ago?
No.
People would order ice cream cones, soft serve ice cream cones at McDonald's.
Yeah.
And that would be the one thing that they did. And then once they got the ice cream cone in their hand, they could do a number of things. They could throw it at the employee. They could smash it against their head. It was, comedy gold. I
have heard of getting big sodas and then tossing the soda back in at the drive-thru worker, which visually is pretty damn funny. But I don't, these are not the people I would be targeting.
It's just funny because you're in the comfort of your own car, right? It's not like you're outside in the store in public. You can just drive away as soon as you can.
Although there are cameras and you get your license plate number written down, and eventually the police show up. Okay. Anyway, if anybody has fast food stories, I guess let me know. I don't know. I don't know that I'd understand a lot of them since I don't go to those restaurants, but support your local businesses and local burrito shops and pizza places and sushi places and whatever. All right, that's it for today.
The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.